Hello and welcome to Pretend Church. It's your pastor, Stephen Jeffrey Cumberdale, the cartoon character created by Nate Hyatt. And make yourselves comfortable. And this is the sermon for Sunday, July 3rd, 2022. All right. My name once again is Stephen J. Cumberdale, and I have spiritual advisors, Pastor Brown. You can see him guide and help me in the comic strip Conscience and Nonsense, available at conscienceandnonsense.com. Pretend Church is kind of an offshoot, spin-off type artistic project related to Conscience and Nonsense. And I also have a spiritual advisor. I'm schizophrenic, so I have a couple of spiritual advisors who appear to me, well, more than a couple. There's Conscience, who's Professor Conscience, who's the little angel who flies around and lets me know to do the right thing. Then there's Little Devil Nonsense, which is his counterpart, my personal demon. And then there's Deborah the Clown. Deborah the Clown appears to me in my dreams. And then there's also Mr. Z, the helpful zombie. So, just wanted to talk about some things. Wanted to do a little housekeeping. You can find out more about Pretend Church. It's in its nascent birthing period. It was just put out there. Nate wanted to do it for a long time. This is art. This is an artistic project. This is called Pretend Church because this is not a real church. There's no membership in Pretend Church. We just have sermons. We might have shows people can come to. One day, many moons from now, we're part of the business of Conscience and Nonsense. It's a for-profit business. So any money that we get from this is money collected for art. And that's just somebody's appreciation, and we will pay taxes on that. We don't really have a set of beliefs around here because we're not a real church. So we don't have a bunch of people who are all, getting together because we think that the giant linguine noodle is gonna save Earth from the planet Pluto when whatever, We do have some sermons, which I'm going to get into today. And, we're going to be doing a lot of things, but we're doing things a little differently. We're mainly concerned with civil rights around here. We're not concerned with worshiping anything, but hey, feel free to hang out, listen. You could be a Christian, you could be an atheist. We don't care. We just, we're probably going to have some other people besides just me in the future write for us, do whatever as part of the art that comes from Conscience and Nonsense, that whole magazine thing. This is just a project Nate wanted to do, so don't overthink it. It's just a good place to be. There is a website. That's pretendchurch.wordpress.com for the time being. Hopefully one day there will be simply a pretendchurch.com. Hopefully one day in the not too distant future. You can email the creator at pretendchurch@gmail.com. And this is just art. This is just art. So, what's going on in the news lately? Well, we're able to talk about politics around here. we're able to talk about politics, and the reason this whole pretend church was created was because we wanted to be able to mix politics and religion and civil rights, and we wanted to be able to talk about basically whatever the hell we wanted without somebody saying, oh, well, that's off limits because you're a non-profit. Well, we're not. Which I've already kind of covered that ground. But the Supreme Court recently overturned Roe versus Wade. And when I talked about that last week, I was pretty ticked off, as were a lot of other people. But I wanted to relate all that to something that does involve a spiritual, well, for a lot of people it's not so spiritual, but there's kind of a philosophical thing that I can get into in here, and it has to do with something that they teach when you start studying Buddhism. And most people over in the West, in the United States especially, are familiar with Zen Buddhism. Well, that's just one type of Buddhism. I'm not the authority on Buddhism. I'm just talking out my tailpipe. But there's something called the parable of the poison arrow. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. It's like this, this dude's walking through the woods, and he's minding his own business, or at least he thinks he is, and he gets nailed in the shoulder with a poison arrow. This arrow just hits him, and it's smeared with poison. And his family's nearby, and they're like, hey, we got to get you to a doctor. We got to take this arrow out and get you some antidote, and the doctor's got to treat you and save your life. And the dude's like, well, that'd be great, but before I accept any treatment, I want to know who shot me with an arrow. And I want to know where he's from, where he grew up. Maybe it's not even a dude. Maybe it was a woman. I don't know. But I want to know, what's the arrow made out of? What kind of wood? Was it a metal arrow? I want to know some details, like the bow that this arrow was shot with. Was the string on the bow, what kind of wood was the bow made out of? We talking bamboo, or are we talking some other kind of wood? The string, was that nylon or silk or bamboo string? I want details. I want to know, the person who shot me, where'd they eat lunch? Did they have a coupon? How long have they been living around here? Are they from out of town? Do they watch football? Are they a baseball kind of person? What kind of music do they listen to? What's their playlist on Spotify? Do they have a TikTok? I want details about this person. Where did they graduate from high school? Did they go to high school? Do they belong in this country? Are they a citizen of another country? And he's got all these questions. And he just kind of keels over and drops dead because everybody's like, how are we supposed to answer all these questions before we save your life? And the parable basically is yeah, we got questions about life and the meaning of life and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you got an arrow hanging out of your shoulder. You got to take that puppy out. You got to remove that sucker. You got to live life. You hungry? You got to eat something. You thirsty? You need a drink. You need shelter. You need to be around people, good, stable people. Wondering all these things about the meaning of life and all this, that, and the other. Some of that's wasted energy. And I think those are some good points, but, when it comes to Roe versus Wade, that's civil rights. That's one of our, to me, self-determination and the right to privacy and the right not to have somebody looking over your shoulder or in between your legs or inside your body if you're a woman or even a man. Pardon me. We don't need somebody. We don't need somebody following us around with a microscope, getting between us and our doctor and telling us how to live and who to be and how to behave. Keep your laws off of our body. So my point with the whole story with the poison arrow is, I might have some questions if I get shot with an arrow. Yeah, take the arrow out. Yeah, get me to the doctor and let's take the arrow out. But also after that, no, I got some questions. Who keeps coming around shooting people with a poison arrow? Because this happened the other day. I got nailed in the leg the other day. My sister got hit with a poison arrow. My uncle did. My friends, somebody keeps on shooting people with a poison arrow. And I think it's more than one dude. And they're trying to take our civil rights away. And it's a woman's choice. And then it's free speech. And then it's the right to boycott something or not. And it's a constant battle. We're really at war. These poison arrows aren't just like a one-time thing. It's not like, hey, I'm out here one day and I get hit with a poison arrow and, wow, what a fluke. What a fluke. But, don't sweat it. We'll get it taken care of because we'll get you to the doctor and the doctor will take the arrow out. No, suddenly I've got the government telling me, well, you don't have the right to get this arrow taken out. You're just going to have to live with this arrow sticking out of you. Because you don't have the right to self-determination, or the states have the right to tell you whether or not you can have the arrow out. I mean, I really personally think that the whole thing is a ton more complicated now. I really personally think that we have too many people trying to figure out how to live somebody else's life right now. And that's not okay. And, quit waging war on people who live differently than you live. Or just, maybe they live more like you than you're giving them credit for, but they have some reason, perfectly legitimate reason, for having to make a choice that maybe you're not comfortable with. You can't just go around outlawing everything, man. You can't. It's not cool. It's not okay. I mean, we live in the United States of America. It's 4th of July weekend. I don't want to boycott everything. I am boycotting some things. I want to turn the TV on. I want to grill out. Fireworks, they trigger me a little bit. They kind of startle me, but hey, set off fireworks, watch fireworks on TV, go to a fireworks show. Yeah, let's celebrate the 4th of July and our freedom. But, I'm seeing people online. I'm seeing Marine Corps veterans online taking down their flag, taking down the flagpole, taking down their flag and running a coat hanger up the flagpole. Yeah, that's happening. Veterans are not happy. Veterans, the most patriotic people among us. How do we know they're patriotic? Well, they risked their lives for this country. And now they're ticked off. And maybe you don't think that's spiritual or philosophical. Maybe you don't think that belongs in a sermon. Well, I don't know how you can go around separating everything. Church and state are supposed to be separate. If you don't want politics in your art, or you don't want politics in your sermon, go to a different church. This is just a pretend church, man. And, I guess that's going to about wrap it up for now. But thanks for listening. Thanks for making it this far. And, get out there and vote, march, boycott something, do what you got to do. I can tell you to vote. I can even tell you who to vote for because this isn't a real church. Not that I'm going to get into all that. But if Dr. King, not going to compare myself to Dr. King, and my cartoonist Nate, he's not going to compare himself to Dr. King either, because that's some courage. And we don't have that kind of courage. That was some real courage. But, by God, I hope I don't ever need to have that kind of courage. I hope that I don't ever need to have the kind of courage that it takes to fight in a war or be a veteran, risk my life, or march in a civil rights march in a place like Alabama during the 1950s and 60s. We've got to protect our rights before they start to erode and go away. We have to do something now. We have to stand up for our sisters, and we have to stand up for our brothers, and we have to stand up for trans people. We have to take a stand now before they start taking away right after right after right, and we live in a police state, in a fascist nation. And I'm dead serious. So, that's it for this sermon from Pretend Church. Thanks for coming. You don't have to believe anything to be here. We just appreciate you listening. This is art. And art imitates life. Art's based on life. And gonna give it a moment of silence to be used as you see fit. And then I'll let you out of here. You can leave anytime you want. I don't hold hostages. Let's have a moment of silence. You are dismissed. Good night and God bless.